day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've been demanding around 2 gold from me a day, which is pretty much a different day's takings. Guy they put in hospital last week, they wanted 10 gold from, and he just couldn't pay it. And others they've just wanted a few silver from. It pretty much just seems to depend what mood they're in.
He's not even orderly about it. All right. I will ask around. So I leave him, go on my way, and first go and make rounds and try to redistribute what I know got, to the stores that I know had gotten taken from. And at each one, I just ask them what they can tell me about Bianco.
Okay, you go around a couple of different stalls, and no one seems to know a massive amount more than what anyone else has been able to say. Bianco seems to be doing a very good job of keeping quiet exactly where he's based, other than that it's somewhere in the shadow alleys. A few minutes later, a dwarf woman who is currently buying some food from the fruit stall turns around to you and says, "Here, you looking for Bianco?"
I am.
I've heard a lot about him lately. Nasty piece of work, don't you think?
He is.
Okay, so the dwarf woman you notice is probably around 130, which is youngish for a dwarf, with long brown hair and green eyes. She's wearing light armor with a satchel over one's shoulder, and as she's talking to you, she's packing the fruit she's just bought away in it. "Yeah, I'm round here a lot," she tells you. "They've been driving the poor vendors half bankrupt with this lot. I heard he's based somewhere in the eastern shadow alleys. I don't know if that's any help to you at all, though."
Narrows it down a bit. That's useful.
"Hey, anything I can do to help, friend? Anything else you wanted to know?"
Just anything that could help toward taking him out. I have some friends that I'll be taking with me to go after him.
Hey, let me see. Eastern end. It's pretty close to the water. Basically, going to the shadow alleys and head east. But that's about all I can tell you. I think I've heard Bianco has some. Well, no offense, but he's got some half orcs with him that are supposed to be pretty nasty. His personal bodyguards or something.
Were you here about however long ago that the fight was in the market?
Nuh-uh, not me. I'm afraid. I was around at work.
Well, this half orc has something to do with those blood stains being mopped up right now.
Hey, I didn't mean anything like that. I'm just letting you know that
I'm
those ones happens to be nasty.
I'm grinning. Yes, and if I need to, so can I. So they they'll have something to contend with once I get there.
Hey, glad to hear that any enemy of his is a friend of mine. Anyway, I need to get home. The children will be expecting me. I'll see you around here sometime if you're sticking around a bit.
Didn't catch your name?
But she's turning to go, but she looks back over her shoulder and says, "Oh, Sigra, nice to meet you."
Pod Ruldar.
"Nice to meet you, Pod. I'll keep my eye out for you."
Appreciate it. And then I bid her a proper dwarven farewell.
She seems to appreciate that and heads on her way.
Isn't that just a pint? You just throw a pint at her. Here, drink!
Like the international symbol of drinking pints, which is a fond farewell amongst dwarves.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Okay, back over where Lucy is. He also taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, isn't that your friend over there?" and points towards Pod.
I look over at him and say, "It is indeed. Shall we go and see what he's found out?"
"Probably a good idea, ma'am."
Perfect. After that, I'd quite like to go and see how my little halfling friend is doing at the tailor's.
Oh, is that the boy you were with when I met you?
Yeah, he was having a really rough time of it, so I feel kind of responsible for him.
You're a good-hearted soul, miss.
I blush prettily.
Prettily.
Oh, I'm very, very pretty.
Okay,
Elf.
you approach Pod.
So, what
Pod
have you
turns and
found out?
nods. Well, found out he'll be in the east end of oh, what was the name of it? I'm sorry. Out of character. I have terrible memory.
Shadow
Shadow
Alleys.
Alley?
Shadows.
I know that feel.
I'll be. He's should be over in the east end of the shadow alleys, and apparently he's got some of my kind with him as bodyguards. So we'll have to be on our toes once we go for him.
Oh, wonderful. Have you heard about any half-orcs around Leota?
I mean, he shrugs and says, well, present company aside, and grins at Pod. I mean, you see a bit of everyone around here. I mean, you saw it was like when we went in the house, people don't really blink at anything out of the usual. Even your tiefling friend isn't that uncommon around here. Can't say there's any half-orc types that stick out to me, I'm afraid. He kind of points at his eyes and say, hell, I get more questions asked about that than half-orcs get entering the town.
Well, they are rather unusual.
Hey, I like to think they're pretty.
I'm not going to deny that.
Okay.
Of course you are.
I just grin and roll my eyes at the flirt.
Okay.
I'm a consummate flirt.
Alright, the Otto says to you, would you like to go and check on your little friend in that case?
That sounds like a perfect plan.
Okay, so you two head off there. Let's head back to Tesserem. So you healed up the poor eyeless guard a little bit, and Avina has settled you down in a very nice little study library with a cup of tea. Very sorry about my son, she says, shaking her head. The boy, I don't know where the boy is half the time.
I'm probably very tired at this point.
But like to have a bed when you've finished your tea.
Oh, yeah, that would be very nice. Thank you.
That's not a problem. I'll go make up a room for you now. Will you be okay here?
I think so. Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, feel free to have a read if you like. I've got a few interesting books.
Should I look around at the books now?
If you want to.
I guess I will.
Okay, so she heads out as you take a look at the books. Make me a perception check.
I like how every time I just always forget. Like, I'm always like, what? How do I make a roll again? Okay.
Not a bad check.
Okay, the library is actually pretty revealing about Avina. Her idea of interesting books aren't particularly what everyone else would call interesting. There's an awful lot about various types of merchants. You find a number of ledgers, which is something about the town in here. There are also a number of history books about Naldrin and the surrounding areas, and a number of religions as well.
Is there anything about the Elaw's family?
You have another look, and there does seem to be a little bit, some kind of thin book. It looks like it could be a diary, possibly of one of her grandparents.
I'm absolutely going to read that.
Okay, you're going to sit and read that, and when I get back to you at some point, I will tell you what it contains.
Yay! I spoke aloud! Yay!
Oh.
Okie dokie. So, in the tavern, are you lot up to anything interesting other than the drink?
Gwynny's feeling a bit intoxicated
Oh dear.
I'm
after
offering to,
after the free bottle of wine.
I'm offering to fetch water.
The barmaid comes up to you and says, "Can I get you anything else?"
Oh, I am quite okay, thank you, dear.
Barkeep, do you have a well in the back?
She kind of looks between you and the elf and grins and says, "I'll get you a pitcher of water, sir."
Thank you.
Okay, so she heads out the back to find some water, and you notice that the same beggar from earlier is coming into the tavern, and now it's getting a little bit more rowdy. He's going around various tables to see if anyone's going to give him any gold.
Oh, Jack, it's that gentleman again.
Shall we see what he's up to?
My dear, I don't think I can stand.
I'll bring him over. So I beckon to the beggar.
Okay, he sees you, very obviously recognizes you as the same person who gave him a number of gold earlier, and kind of slinks over to you, eyes darting about. "Yes, sir, can I do anything for you?"
You looking for more coin?
He smiles at you and says, "Well, I hear that there's information worth coin."
Yes, I know plenty enough about the shadow alleys, thank you. But
Oh, I can be a little more specific than the shadow alleys.
I just think it's perhaps dangerous for someone who is, weaving in amongst the various drunkards to perhaps be pressing them for their hard-earned coin.
They know me well enough.
In the middle of this conversation, I get up and go, "Oh, Jack, it's that gentleman that we seen earlier. Oh my god!" And I give the guy a hug, like just completely randomly.
Can you roll me a strength check, please?
Oh dear.
Are we rolling to see how hard the hug is now?
Bear hug, bear hug.
20, 20. Roll a crit, roll a crit.
How strong am I? Damn it!
Or how hard he smacks his face off the ground when he misses the hug.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Oh!
Very good.
Oh, that couldn't have been better. That could not have been better.
Oh my god.
You completely miss the beggar and fall flat on your face at the feet of the barmaid who's about to bring you over a pitcher of water. This pitcher spills on your head.
That is superb.
Called it.
Yeah, Dan, that was an epic
you are
roll.
now, you're now knocked out, and can you please make me a con save?
Oh god, are we gonna have a pile of sick or something equally disgusting?
Well,
I
let's see
think
what
it-
the roll says.
I think it's to see how long he's passed out for.
You are marginally hungover when you wake up tomorrow morning and have a disadvantage on rolls.
Oh.
I carry Gwynny over to the bar and prop her up as best I can.
And get her another pint.
Okay, gingerly stepping around everyone else, the beggar approaches Varys and says, "Sir, I hear you're looking for information on one," and he lowers his voice, "Bianco."
And what would you know about Bianco?
He kind of rubs his fingers together and says, "Well, that quite depends on how valuable you find the information, doesn't it, sir?"
I'm going to interrupt for a second.